Welcome back to Recap in Minutes. In today's video, we will be going through a 2008 action-adventure movie titled The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The movie begins in ancient war-torn China when General Han takes over the country through the brute force of his army. Those he defeated built his Great Wall until the day they died, and then their bodies were used to make the walls after death. Following this, he mastered the 5 elements: fire, water, earth, wood, and metal, thereby becoming all-powerful. However, after realizing he is still mortal, he sends his oldest and most trusted friend General Ming to seek out a powerful witch named Zai Yuan who is rumored to know the secrets to eternal life. When she appears before Han, she reveals that she does not know the secret to eternal life, but she knows where to find it. Han, who became smitten with the witch's beauty, instructed Ming that no man is allowed to touch the witch before he sends them out to the monastery of Turfan to find the secrets to eternal life. While in the library, they discover the Oracle Bones, a collection of all the mystical secrets of the ancient world, and among them, the secret to eternal life. After their discovery, Ming and Yuan get intimate, unaware that Han catches them in the act. Later on, when Yuan presents the Oracle Bones to Han, he promises her to grant her any wish she wants, so she wishes to spend the rest of her life with Ming. After Han accedes, she casts the spell in Sanskrit, a language Han does not understand. After he feels the spell works, he reveals to Yuan that he has arrested Ming before demanding that she becomes his queen in exchange for Ming's life. When she refuses, he has Ming quartered before stabbing Yuan. However, he soon realizes that she double-crossed him, as well by casting a spell that turned Han and his army into terracotta statues. As she flees, it is declared that the general must never be revived or else Han will be unstoppable as he takes over the world. In 1946 England, Rick, who has retired from adventuring, goes fishing and resorts to his guns, after failing to catch any fish with his hooks. Once back home, he learns that Evelyn is still out on her book reading. Once alone, it is clear he misses his adventures. Meanwhile, after her book reading, her fans ask Evelyn if her life is still exciting now she is no longer going out on adventures, and she reveals it isn't. Back at home, it is clear they are in a rut. Furthermore, it has been a while since they have heard from Alex. They both know he is probably up to no good. Evelyn changes the subject when she reveals her publisher has asked her for a 3rd book, but it does not exist because she is suffering writer's block. Rick tries to take her mind off it by offering her a night to remember, but Evelyn turns him down so that she can focus on her writing. Meanwhile, in Ningxia, China, Alex and his archaeology professor, Roger Wilson, dig the site of Emperor Han's tomb in search of the emperor and his army. Wilson lets Alex know he is proud of him as they discover an entrance to the tomb. Back in England, after failing in her writing efforts, Evelyn attempts to salvage whatever she can from the night with Rick, only to find he has fallen asleep. Back at the tomb, Alex and his company enter the perilous tomb in search of General Han. After going in deep, they discover the terracotta army deep underground. However, as they continue searching for Han, they set off booby traps in which only Alex and Wilson survive. Despite Wilson's doubt that the general is still there, Alex activates an underground tunnel in which he falls into and finds the general's statue. However, he and Wilson are attacked by a masked female assailant who almost kills them before being forced to run off. When the assailant escapes, Alex and Wilson take their findings away. In the next scene, a British government agent requests that Rick and Evelyn help return a gem called the Eye of Shangri-La to the Shanghai Museum. Rumored to direct its holder to the Pool of Eternal, the British government would like to return it to the Chinese as a show of good faith. Although the O'Connells initially insist they are retired, the agent woos them with the dangers of the mission of going on the trip to China. Sometime later, Jonathan, Evelyn's brother, welcomes Alex into his club, Imhotep. While Alex is distracted by a beautiful brunette, Rick and Evelyn arrive at the bar, not knowing that Alex is there. Moments later, Rick is forced to stop a fight between Alex and Mad Dog MAGUIRE, an old acquaintance who agrees to squash the beef on Rick's request. After the fight, Rick scolds Alex, and Alex walks off. Evelyn is not happy with his parenting skills and tries to get Rick more involved in his son's life before they grow too far apart. The next day, Colonel Choi joins General Yang out in a paramilitary outpost out in a desert. She reveals her spy has informed her that the O'Connells are in China with the gemstone. Based on this information, Yang rallies his troops and prepares them for their long-awaited battle. Back in Shanghai, the O'Connells head to the museum so they can view Alex's first find. Once at the museum, Evelyn makes Rick congratulate his son on his find, but Rick falls flat. While Alex goes to fetch Wilson, he realizes someone is following him. Meanwhile, as Rick gets on his wife, Wilson joins them and asks for the gemstone. However, they realize this is a trap as they are joined by General Yang and Colonel Choi and reveal it is them who sponsored Alex's find. They force Evelyn to reveal that the eye can only be opened by blood from someone pure of heart. They pick her after she gets in the way when Choi tries to shoot Rick. As they force Rick at gunpoint to open a nearby sarcophagus where they believe Han rests, Alex and Lin, his attacker from the tombs earlier on, watch as Choi cuts blood from Evelyn's fingertips, which they use to activate the stone. After Rick opens the sarcophagus, Yang orders Wilson to kill Rick, but Alex and Lin intervene. Unfortunately, in the fracas, the gemstone touches a nearby statue. Unknown to the others and Lin, who stabs what proves to be a decoy in the sarcophagus, the nearby statue proves to be the real Han and comes to life before breaking out with Yang, who subjugates himself to the Dragon King. Rick and Evelyn are forced to steal a car to give chase. They are shortly joined by Jonathan, whose car is destroyed by Han as he escapes. The O'Connells, Jonathan and Lin give chase to the Dragon Emperor through the streets of Shanghai, but ultimately fail in their chase as Han and Yang escape. As the adventurers nurse their wounds at Imhotep's while blaming each other for losing Han, Lin informs them that Han can only be stopped by a short sword her mother put a curse on a long time ago. Although they don't really trust her, Lin informs them that they must beat the Emperor to Shangri-La before he drinks from the pool of eternal life and becomes unstoppable. Time is already running out because the Emperor can use the gem to get there. Luckily, Lin also knows the way there. Faced with the mission at hand, they decide to get on MAGUIRE's plane so they can cross the Himalayas quickly enough to beat Han to Shangri-La. Although it is a dangerous flight, they arrive on the mountain safely. Well, safely enough. Back at the paramilitary outpost, Yang informs Han that he only wishes to serve the Dragon Emperor as a general. Once Han agrees, Yang leads Han to the pool of eternal life with the eye. Back at the mountain, MAGUIRE informs the O'Connell crew that Han and co. are fast approaching once he spots them. When night falls, the O'Connell gang spends the night at a stupa in the Himalayas. As they set fires, Evelyn warns Alex to be wary of Lin because she can see Alex likes Lin. He dismisses the thought, but apologizes for blaming her for losing Han. Later on, Alex tries to laugh off his mother's suspicions to Lin, but when Lin inadvertently rebuffs any romantic coupling between them, Alex rebuffs her right back. On the next day, the group crosses the Himalayas where they find the gateway of Shangri-La. When they arrive, Rick and Alex clash over their plans to take Han down while Evelyn and Lin lay bombs on the Golden Tower, which will make Han unstoppable if he places the eye on it. Soon after, Han, Yang and his soldier attack the gateways. When the group is unable to hold off the Chinese soldiers, Jonathan attempts to set the bomb's fuses off but fails while Lin calls out to the mountains for mountain yetis for their aid. The yetis help them overpower the Chinese soldiers and help Jonathan light the fuse. However, when Han launches his own attacks, he easily subdues the group before scaring off the yetis. He blows out the bomb fuses before climbing the gold tower with the eye. The group tries to stop him, but he proves too powerful, leaving him free to place the eye on the tower. Alex tries to throw a grenade to set off an avalanche, but Han throws a sword at him. Rick intercepts the sword, taking its full blow instead, which leaves Alex free to cause the avalanche. As the snow descends, the Yeti protect the group, while the avalanche sweeps Han away. After the avalanche, Lin takes the injured Rick to Shangri-La, where they discover Lin's mother is no other but Zai Yuan, who heals Rick's wounds. While Rick rests, Yuan reveals that she and Lin are over 2,000 years old, and that they have been protecting the pool of life from Han. Once Alex and Lin are alone, Lin reveals her immortality is the reason she avoids romantic relationships, as she does not want to watch a lover die. Alex does not want to take no for an answer, but he is interrupted in his advances when he learns Rick is still alive. When Alex talks with his father, he confesses he cannot imagine a world without Rick, and this finally draws the family together. Meanwhile, back at the pool, as Yuan asks Lin to give up her immortality for an undisclosed purpose, Han breaks into the pool and gains his immortality while stealing the cursed sword from Yuan. He transforms into a three-headed dragon and unleashes havoc before escaping back to his tomb to raise his army while kidnapping Lin, who he recognizes as Ming's daughter. The others race to get to the tomb before Han aboard MAGUIRE's plane. Sometime later, Yuan informs the others that Han is not immortal until he crosses the Great Wall. She reveals she plans to raise the soldiers buried within the Great Wall to fight Han and the Terracotta Army while they attempt to stab him with the cursed sword. Later on, the group come across Han as he raises his Terracotta Army at his tomb. As he declares his wish to take over the world, Yuan raises the army within the walls. Led by General Ming, they battle the Terracotta Army together with the O'Connells. Meanwhile, as Alex rescues Lin, Yuan battles Han. However, when he realizes she is mortal because of the spell to raise her army, he kills her. Unknown to him, she steals the cursed sword from him before he flings her body away. As the battle rages on, Maguire and Jonathan give aerial assistance with help from another plane. Han takes one plane down before retreating into the walls. In the midst of the battle, Lin finds her injured mother and retrieves the sword before Yuan dies. Rick and Alex take the sword and chase Han down so they can stab him in the heart. Meanwhile, up in the air, Jonathan promises Maguire the Imhotep bar if he gets them out of this. In that moment, they drop aerial bombs on Yang and Choi. Meanwhile, within the Great Wall, Han influences the battle with his powers of elemental control. However, he is interrupted by Rick and Alex. Alex stabs him in the back, but is gravely injured. As Rick checks on Alex, Han throws the sword at Rick, but ends up breaking it instead. At the same time, Evelyn and Lin dispose of Yang within the large gears in the walls. Upon seeing her master die, Choi joins him in death. In a final showdown, Rick challenges Han to fight him like a man, just as Alex slips into a healing pool. As Rick and Han fight, Alex stabs him with a broken piece of the sword from the back while Rick stabs him in the heart, sending the Dragon Emperor back to hell with his army. In the aftermath, Ming and his undead warrior disintegrate in victory into the desert air. In the final scene, Imhotep falls into the Maguire's ownership as Alex dances with his new girlfriend in the club. Following the adventure, Rick and Evelyn's romance appears to have gained a new spark as well. She appears to prefer living through adventures as opposed to writing about them. Meanwhile, Jonathan, now done with China, leaves China for new adventures in Peru with the Eye of Shangri-La in his possession. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell to get noticed when a new video is uploaded.